Welcome back, Fab Fellows. Today, we delve into the story of Ron Kamonohashi, the direct descendant of Sherlock Holmes and James Moriarty. Ron is an exceptional detective and achieved the highest grades in the history of the prestigious Detective Academy, Blue. However, his journey takes a dark turn when he is expelled from Blue and loses his detective license, after forcing the culprit to commit suicide in a case, leading to him being branded a murderer. Depressed, Ron spends the next 5 years in isolation. Fast forward to the present. His life unexpectedly changes when Detective Toto from the Tokyo Police Department arrives at his doorstep, seeking his assistance with a case. Ron, finding purpose once again, agrees to join forces with Toto, thus embarking on a new chapter in his life. Meanwhile, during a faculty meeting at Blue Academy, Headmistress Amy instructs an investigation into Ron Kamonohashi to verify the report of his involvement in sleuthing activities. She emphasizes that the investigation is solely to uncover the truth, without outlining any consequences if the report is confirmed. Spitz steps forward to undertake the investigation and is dispatched to Japan. Meanwhile in Japan, Ron asks Toto to come with him to the store to buy cat food because he's short on money. After Toto pays, Ron gets a raffle ticket and ends up winning the grand prize, a couple's package for a weekend trip to the Benizome Hot Springs. Toto panics a bit when the clerk refers to them as a couple. Ron suggests going alone twice, but the trip dates can't be changed, so Toto agrees to go with him. Driving to the hot springs, they learn that they will not be staying at the main building, but will instead be staying at the annex, which is in a state of disrepair. Ron comments that it looks like the building was hit by a typhoon. There, they are greeted by a couple as well as Spitz pretending to work there. Ron and Toto go to the men's bath, where Ron tells Toto about a legend he read in the pamphlet they received from their taxi driver that the hot springs received its name after a girl was sacrificed in the river, and her blood dyed the spring water red. Toto observes the scar on Ron's neck, which he mistakes for a tattoo. Ron tells he was once covered in wounds, but the only injury that left a scar was the one on his neck. Ron states that he likes the scar since it includes the number 6, which is a lucky number for him. For dinner, Ron eats a dish of rice covered in brown sugar syrup that Toto considers to be slime. Ron states that the syrup is the source of his brain power, and that he also consumes black sesame paste to prevent anemia. Afterward, Ron and Toto play ping pong, with Ron claiming that the loser of the game will become a slave to the winner. Upon losing the lone ping pong ball, they search outside, but are unable to find it, and so they return to the men's bath to warm themselves up. Shortly after, a drunk Amamiya enters the men's bath naked and screams upon realizing her mistake. They learn that she came because she won second prize at the raffle. Drunk and weepy, she goes to bed around 10 p.m. That night, Toto and Ron play the game of life with the couple until 2 a.m. The next morning, a staff member discovers a corpse in the women's bath, which is covered with red leaves. The body is that of Sachiko, who went to the bath alone at around 10 p.m. Amamiya examines the corpse and determines that she must have died between midnight and 2 a.m. based on the degree of rigor mortis. Suspicion immediately falls on Amamiya because she is the only one without an alibi during that time. But Ron declares that Amamiya is innocent and that he can prove it. Spitz, the instructor from Blue, sees this as his chance to catch Ron, but Ron immediately says that that is what Toto would say to solve the case. Spitz and Toto are both stunned. Ron borrows from Toto's reactions, adds his own deductions, and presents the analysis as if he is speaking on behalf of Toto. He says that Toto has already deduced that the murder was modeled after the Benizome legend, and that the secret story of the Benizome and the red water are the keys to finding the culprit. Ron goes ahead to explain that since Amamiya did not see the pamphlet with the story on, she could not have replicated it. The woman with a blonde bob retorts that when she was heading to her room after dinner the previous night, she spotted a white mist emanating from the river. Ron calls Toto over at the riverside to show that he has finally located the ping pong ball. As Ron is figuring out a way to extract the ball, they spot a bath mat adjacent to the river. Amamiya comes to offer her thanks to Toto, but she is unable to fully say it out loud. She assigns Toto as the lead for the investigation since she is still a suspect. Toto is surprised and goes to offer his thanks, to which Amamiya fires back, saying she is only doing so because no one else is around. She mutters that she has had a string of bad luck since yesterday from the moment she walked into the wrong bathhouse. The police arrive at the scene and investigation is underway. Ron heads to his room and Spitz follows him shortly after and spies on him from the next room. But Ron does not move in his room. Toto comes back to the room and informs that the woman died due to a heart failure. Her husband had mentioned that she had a heart condition. She would often have fits. Ron slams on the wall, which the Spitz is listening from. Toto proceeds to say that the temperature difference caused the heart failure. Shortly after, everyone once again gathers at the crime scene. Once there, Toto proceeds to solve the case. He says it was a murder and that the culprit is among those present. Toto says that the husband killed her, but he protests in denial. Toto says that while the husband was in the lounge to set up an alibi, He had already set a trap for his wife. He placed the bath mat over a pit in such a manner that she would fall. She had poor vision and could not see well without her glasses. When Amamiya points out that perhaps that fall was not enough for the thermal shock, Toto says it could be the case that the bath was filled with freezing cold water. Toto then shows a hollow bamboo pipe. He explains that there was a slight elevation difference in the river and the bath. The husband used that bamboo pipe to direct the flow of the hot and cold water. That steam that the guests saw the previous night was the effect of the hot water hitting the cold river water. Toto then further adds that since the fallen leaves were less in number, the husband must have procured more to cover his tracks and mislead everyone into thinking it was the curse. The husband protests, saying it is not possible for a man to sneak into a woman's bath. Toto explains that when the husband heard that the men would be playing ping pong, he took the chance to swap the bath curtains so that he could prepare his trap undetected. This is why Amamiya ended up at the men's bath. When the husband protests more, Toto says that the husband's fingerprints would still be present on the curtain rods. The husband accepts defeat. He apologizes to Michio Aka, the woman with short blonde hair. It turns out the husband and Michio were having an affair, and Toto is agitated. As a result, the husband is arrested. Toto looks around to find Ron and follows a figure into the woods thinking it is him. Turns out the figure was the Spitz. Ron is tied up to a tree, and the instructor introduces himself as Spitz, a tracking instructor at Blue. Ron says that he has his eyes on Spitz since the moment he won the raffle. He also says that the case was solved by Toto, but Spitz contradicts, saying that Toto is a fool who did not even notice him. Ron asks for proof of Spitz's claims and also goes to call Spitz incompetent in his profession. Toto urges Ron to not anger Spitz. Spitz says that if Ron agrees to sleuthing, he could ask for a lighter sentence. Ron questions Spitz if he has the authority to do so, going on to explain how there is more to Spitz's story than what he is letting on. Ron presents three possibilities: that either Spitz has made a bet, has been threatened, or is in need of Ron's ability. Spitz accepts defeat and offers Ron a job. He says that he got into Blue with the objective of finding the best detective to find his missing family. Ron rejects the job, saying that he cannot trust Spitz. Spitz offers to earn Ron's trust by helping him and Toto in the cases henceforth. When Ron asks for more, Spitz offers a happy coat. Toto asks Ron to consider Spitz's offer. Spitz thanks Toto and applauds his deduction in the earlier case. Ron says that despite Spitz's gratitude, he cannot trust him. If Spitz betrays Ron, he would be done for. But even then he is ready to wait and see because Toto thinks Spitz is a good guy. Toto asks if Ron has any plan, and Ron replies that he does. He plans to use Spitz and his skills until Spitz drops. Toto thinks to himself that Ron would never abandon anyone in trouble. Toto thanks Ron for helping Amamiya. Ron says that he was merely doing his duty. Meanwhile, in a dark apartment building, a man in a white sleeveless hoodie opens a fridge door lined with beer cans and smirks. That was it from today's recap. To find out what happens in the next case of Ron and Toto, don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for more exciting updates. Thanks for watching.